Hello, I'm of course Councillor Graham Campbell and this is vlog 33 and I'm asking the question, is the council, in this case South Lancashire Council, ready for what lies ahead with Covid-19, the coronavirus? Today is Wednesday the 18th of March 2020. It's just before 9 AM when I'm recording this video, and of course the Covid-19 coronavirus crisis is changing on a minute by minute, hour by hour basis. So what I'm about to talk about in this vlog is really trying to answer the questions that I'm getting constantly as a councillor. Is South Lancashire ready for what lies ahead with Covid-19? And what I propose to do is use a very simple traffic light process as I go through each of the main areas of the council, and I'm going to give you my view if South Lancashire is ready for Covid-19. What I will say, it's my opinion, it's my view. Those of you who know me will know that I'm an IT guy. I'm a business transformational consultant, and for the last couple of weeks my business has been working with clients all over the world preparing their businesses for working from home. So what I'm going to do, because IT is extremely important in so much of what the council does, not all areas of course, but what I want to use is my experience as a business transformational consultant to explain whether I think the council department in question is ready or not. First up, line of business administration. And what I mean by that, well, as you can imagine, there are hundreds, potentially thousands actually, of staff across South Lancashire Council who all work from an office behind the computer, whether they're in social work, housing, planning, technical, etc., etc. And all of those staff do need to still have access to their line of business applications from an IT perspective. And on Monday this week, the 16th of March, I chaired the cross-party IT working group, and urgent business was added to that meeting to consider, is the council ready to enable those staff to continue to do their job from home? As you can see from the cover slide from this section, I've given these guys a green because actually I do believe South Lancashire Council is ahead of the game on this one. I have chaired the cross-party IT group with members from the SNP, Labour and the Lib Dems, well, since this term began back in 2017. And with my experience in IT, I've been supporting the council move to modern technology. However, more of a concern to me was, would the staff in housing, social work, finance be able to access their line of business applications, which are not the most modern software out there in the market? And again, I think the IT department in South Lancashire have done a pretty good job. They've come up with what is fairly old technology but robust and remote desktop control. So the answer to that is simply yes, and that's why I've given this section a green. I do believe within the next few days, certainly the next week or so, South Lancashire Council will be able to offer staff the ability to access their desktop applications from their own home technology, as long as they've got access to the internet. For those staff who don't have desktops or laptops of their own, the council does have around 2,000 laptops. They're reprovisioning old laptops as we speak to be able to provide laptops to staff who need them because they don't have access to their own technology. The council did order another 1,000 laptops back in early 2020. But as most of you know, the coronavirus is affecting deliveries from the Far East, and those laptops are stuck in shipment from, well, wherever, China, Japan, I'm not 100% sure, but they're not going to arrive until June, so we're having to do with what we can. But staff in administration should be able to access their line of business applications and provide a service, because the council did upgrade their telephone system to a VoIP system, voice over IP, which means their telephone can be diverted to anywhere in the world, so the staff members home if necessary. So again, I do believe the council is ahead of the game when it comes to being able to deliver line of business administration services throughout the COVID-19 crisis. Just like administration services, I'm going to give South Lancashire Roads a green right now, because as it sits today, Wednesday the 18th of March, the roads guys are really not that affected by Covid-19, and I mean currently. They, by virtue of their job, work outside, they're socially distant from each other, they're not right up and close doing their job. What I will say is that picture could change, and it could change rapidly as staff either get ill or they have to self-isolate for various reasons. So as it sits right now, I do think roads is in a good place. It's not as affected by COVID-19 as other departments. Everyone that contacted me from my post on Facebook about potholes, every case that I got involved in has now been responded to. Either the pothole has been fixed or we have a fixed date of March 2020 to get that work completed. So for those who contacted the council, first of all, using their online system, didn't get a response and then contacted me as their local councillor, I can assure you that every case has now been pretty well closed for that on roads, and we will continue to work with the potholes. I am expecting the capital budget in the council is the 25th, so next Wednesday I believe, whether that happens or not, where we will sign off the capital budget for 2020-2021, and that includes a roads package, and there are a number of roads across Avondale scheduled in the next financial year for a complete resurface, especially a number of roads around the Glassford area. I'll give you more information on that as I get it, but as it sits right now, again, I think the council's in pretty good shape when it comes to COVID-19 and roads. Whether you agree with it or not, the council has taken a robust decision to close all leisure and culture facilities across the county from today, Wednesday, the 18th of March 2020, and that includes all gyms, leisure centres, libraries, etc. The UK and the Scottish Government's advice right now is to implement a social distancing strategy. And let's be honest, folks, leisure centres, gyms and libraries are not vital services. And to protect you, the public, to protect the staff who work across our leisure and culture facilities, I do believe the council have taken the right decision. I support it, and I'm giving them a green as a result. What do I mean by member services? Well, that is the councillors' department, or the area the councillors work within in South Lancashire Council. And you might be asking yourself, why do I think that is important enough to give a section to in this vlog? Well, very simply, there is a job still to be done. Next Wednesday, the 25th of March, we have the full council to approve the capital budget, the capital programme for 2021. And the question I've been asking the Chief Executive and the Head of Legal Services is, given the age demographic of the elected members, we have at least one member currently pregnant, and another bunch of councillors who, without a doubt, are either in the at-risk category or currently off being self-isolated for various reasons. The chamber is not the healthiest place, therefore, to be during COVID-19, and I have a number of concerns about that. And this also extends to the committee cycle. If you're waiting to get a planning application approved right now, or you're looking to get a license approved, etc., etc., you actually are requiring the elected members to be part of a committee decision-making process. And if we're not there, what will happen to your license, to your planning application? The reason I'm giving them an amber is because I'm not convinced the council's failing in this matter, but I'm also not convinced that they're doing a great job. I am waiting for an update from the Chief Executive and the Head of Legal Services today. I emailed them both last night. The Chief Executive, Clellan Snedden, who I think is doing a great job, came back to me overnight with an email saying that he is meeting the leadership of each of the political groups today, I think maybe even as a group, to decide what to do going forward. Today is my first day working from home from a business perspective, and there is nothing to stop me as a councillor doing my business from home and remotely. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, I held my first constituency surgery with a group of residents who had a specific topic they wanted me to deal with, and I actually used remote technology. In fact, I used Microsoft Teams to do that conference call with those constituents, and it worked very well. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, the Conservative group met using Skype for Business to discuss the revenue budget, or the council budget setting process for 2021, and that worked extremely well. So the technology in the council is available for us to do our day-to-day tasks, working with the officers, working with our fellow councillors. But where I'm not sure that the council are ready right now is the ability to allow the committees and the full council to be delivered remotely, if at all possible. I did watch the Chancellor last night in Westminster, and I have to admit, those benches down there do not deliver any measure of social distancing at all. And right now, I do believe we require, in fact, our elected members, whether they're in Edinburgh, Westminster, or here in South Lanarkshire, to be fit and well as possible. And if we don't implement the social distancing that the government is recommending right now, I'm not convinced we will all be able to continue to do our jobs if we happen to catch the coronavirus. Next up is social work, and what I will say is Val, Liam, Martin and their team in social work in South Lancashire are doing an incredible job through very difficult circumstances. As you've seen in the news recently, a residential home in Uddingston, just across the motorway in North Lanarkshire, has already closed its doors even to all visitors, and I do expect, if it has not already happened in South Lanarkshire, it is going to have to happen very, very shortly, as we do what we can to protect our residents across council residential homes. But remember folks, social work is the department that delivers both residential care and home care services across our community, and our staff themselves are elderly, or a lot of them are, and therefore in the at-risk category. I do worry about what we are going to do if we begin to lose a lot of staff, either to the coronavirus itself or to isolation. As most of you know, I sit on the social work committee, and I already know that social work are doing their absolutely best to put plans in place to deal with a large amount of social work staff being off sick or in isolation. However, I cannot underestimate the task that Val, Liam and Martin and their team across social work have, because it's going to be a very difficult job. None of us really know what is going to happen with the current Covid-19 crisis. We've seen what's happened in the likes of Italy, Spain and most recently France. So I think what we have to do is plan for the worst and hope for the best. As I said, they're doing a great job in social work. My support is with them. In fact, I was talking to Val on WhatsApp last night. She is the director of social work, and I do believe that she and her team are putting everything in place to deliver a service through extremely difficult times. Before I close this section on social work, I do want to state the obvious. All South Lanarkshire employees delivering care services to the homes of our elderly and vulnerable, even without Covid-19, are supposed to be wearing gloves when they're in our residents' homes. I've been assured by the council there is not a supply issue of gloves, but the one question I keep getting is why they're not wearing masks. The medical advice that we're getting as a council is masks are not required. It's back to that old analogy of your hands, and that is the area that we've always done our best to protect our residents who are receiving services from the home care team across social work. The last department and their COVID-19 readiness I want to talk about is education, and I am giving these guys a red because this department is the one department that concerns me the most. First, I want to cover the question that I'm getting on a constant basis every day, and that is, why are our schools not already closed? Very simply folks, South Lancashire Council, and in fact none of the councils across Scotland, have the authority to close schools en masse. That decision has got to come from either Westminster or Holyrood, and as you know right now, neither have given the councils the decision or the authority to take the decision to close schools. Now, if schools start to begin to suffer through staff being off ill or in enforced isolation, the decision to close individual schools does lie with the council education department and the head teachers themselves. But as it sits right now, as I'm recording this video, the schools are all open, and the government recommendation, if I could speak this morning, is that you should send your kids to school. As a parent, it is still your decision and it's still your right to decide whether during these extraordinary times you send your child to school, and that decision will always be your right. However, as you can see across all of Europe and North America, schools are closing, and I do believe that within days now the UK and Scottish governments will make the decision to close schools, and I think it will be the right decision when it comes. However, the area of education that concerns me the most is the fact that we're entering exam season. There are young people across South Lancashire, and in fact all of Scotland, that are soon due to sit their Nat 5s, their hires and advanced hires. But I fear that our government does not have the vision or the ability to use technology to deliver classes, especially to those young people who are about to sit exams. Now, right now, folks, I think we're all aware that our young people are used to using technology, and the technology is there and available today for the teachers to remotely from home deliver classes to children in their homes right now. But my fear is that for whatever reason, that is not being enacted. More than a decade ago, I saw children in Tiree attending classes in another school in Argyll and Bute to do French because there was no French teacher on the island of Tiree. That technology has been available for years. We've known that kids in Australia have been remotely attending classes for as long as I've been alive. But today, with the advent of technology such as Skype and Teams, there is absolutely no excuse, folks, for our council and our education department to be able to deliver classes to 99% of our children. And for those who do not have access to technology themselves, we have the technology that we can provide them to ensure that no child in South Lancashire is disadvantaged by COVID-19 and their education. Now, in my role as chair of the cross-party working group into IT, I have asked for solutions to be brought forward on this very topic. I've been told it's a very difficult one. There are unions involved, there are decisions beyond South Lancashire involved, but I'm afraid, folks, I don't think that is any excuse. The technology is available today to continue to deliver education to our young people across South Lancashire and across Scotland. I just fear that the politicians and a lot of officers and teachers lack the vision to be able to deliver education in this new way as we continue to keep going through very, very difficult times. We're all part of this problem. There are solutions in place, and our young people should not suffer as a result. That's my opinion, of course. Okay, I want to bring this video to a close because it is already way longer than I originally anticipated when I planned out the various sections. The one thing that I do want to say, that your safety, the safety of everyone across South Lancashire, Scotland, the United Kingdom and the world is everyone's, or should be everyone's, number one priority right now. Whether you agree with it or not, we need to be listening to the politicians. We need to be listening to the health experts because we're in extraordinary times. I do want to close by saying that I've been really impressed by the politicians and the media throughout this current crisis. I think that the vast majority of everyone, whether they're in Westminster, Holyrood, or here in South Lancashire, are making the right decisions based on common sense and not based on political divide. And I think every single one of you watching this video, if you're stuck with me this long, should be proud of everyone involved. I also think the media, for once, is doing a really good job. They are informing us as best they can and keeping us up to date on what is happening and what we should be doing as we deal with this unprecedented, and I do mean it, this word unprecedented is a word that I hear used day in, day out, R in, R out, and it is absolutely right to use this word. We are living in unprecedented circumstances. None of us know what is going to happen throughout COVID-19, throughout the rest of this crisis. We don't know how long it's going to last. We hope by the measures we take today will help shorten the length of time that we're going through this crisis. I am, of course, Councillor Graham Campbell, and it's been my privilege to serve the good people of Avondale as their councillor, as your councillor, since 2007. All I would say, folks, is please keep safe out there. Do your best to follow what you're hearing on the news. I'm doing it. I'm working from home today, and I will continue to work from home until the government and the medical experts say it is safe to leave.